Good morning, good Yantif, as we say today around the world. Nisan, it's a very special day for Hasidim and for Jews. Every single Jew around the world connects today to Yud Aleph Nisan. So I want to see who's getting on this morning to join our live Farbrengen. Put down your name here with an emoji. So we'll see who's there. And while everyone's getting ready, we'll just say the names of the people that we are going to be saying Tehillim for. Hi, good morning, Lana. Good to see you. Boker Tov, good morning. Okay, we're going to say Tehillim here now. We're going to say for Yaakov Moshe ben Necha, Yehudis bas Sarah, Yitzchak Moshe ben Rachel Reza, Tzipora Hinda bas Rachel Miriam, Sarah bas Chana, Chana Devora bas Golda Basya, Menucha bas Emmanuel, Sarah bas Rivka, Yisrael ben Esther Golda, Nachamadina bas Esther, Hadassah, Henya Tzipora bas Chayu Cheved, Tuvia Moshe ben Peril, Liran, Bracha bas Shendalea, Rivka bas Chafitza, Leah bas Chafitza, Dalia bas Yehudis, Heniel Tova bas Tova Basya, Moshe ben Miriam, Leah bas Etel, Naomi Sarah bas Sipora, Sarah bas Penina, Dov ben Tova, Malka bas Reza Leah, Yehoshua ben Leah, and Yitzchak Mendel ben Bracha, and a new young girl who's in the hospital. We'll say Tehillim for her, Tamara bas Dina. So good morning, everyone. Good morning, Marilyn. Good morning, Shirley. And we are going to start off with saying Tehillim. Please put down anyone's names that you know need a refuah shalema or need a bracha for anything, for shidduchim, right? Parnasa, menuchas hanefesh. There's a lot of things we all want to daven for. So please tell me, how are you feeling on this beautiful Yud Aleph Nisan? Send me some kind of emoji so I see how you're doing. A smile, thumbs up. Good morning, Helen. Good morning, Sancha. Everyone's getting ready for Pesach, and in the middle of getting ready for Pesach, it's Yud Aleph Nisan. So we're going to put a coin into the tzedakah box. And say with me chapter Chaf. Lamanatseach Mizmar LeDavid. Yancha Dinarbi Amtsari Sagef Hashem Elhe Yaakov. Yishlach Ezracha Mikodesh Mitzian Yisadeka. Yiskar Kol Mechasecha Valascha Yidash Nesela. Yiten Lechacha Lavecha V'chol Atzascha Yimale. Nirana B'shuasecha V'shem Elheinu Nitgol. Yimalei Adonai Kol Mashalasecha Ati Adati Ki Yoshia Adonai Mishicho. Yaneu Mishmei Kocha B'gvuras Yeshayimine. Ela Varecha Ve'ela Vasusim V'nachna B'shem Adonai Eloheinu Naskir. Hema Karavana Follow V'nachna Kamen V'sadad Adonai Yoshia Melchanenu V'yom Karenu. Okay, does anyone know Yud Aleph Nisan, what is special and significant about today in the Jewish calendar? Anybody know? Put it down in the comments if you know. Just testing you out there. What is Yud Aleph Nisan? And I'll give you a hint. It has to do with the number 120. So you might have seen it on billboards, social media, in magazines. The world is celebrating something to do with 120. Helga, good. Today is the Rebbe's 120th birthday. And do you know what the Hebrew date is? Good morning, Clara. Do you know what the Hebrew date is today? I know it's April 12th, but what's that Hebrew date? Anybody? Could you put it down in the comments? What's today's Hebrew date? Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's the month of Nisan. What day in Nisan is it today? If you could remember, put that down. Hi, good morning, Lauren. Lauren, I want to tell you a Hashgacha Prata story that happened. I went to visit someone on Sunday to bring them matzah. And I was looking for a parking spot. And I saw a couple walking down. I said to them, am I allowed to park on this street? Because it looked like it was a busy street. And she saw me holding a matzah. And she looks at the matzah. And I said, do you need shmor matzah? She goes, oh my gosh. I was supposed to go to my grandchild's matzah factory today to get matzah. He goes to a Chabad preschool downtown. And because of COVID, I couldn't go. And we need matzah. And I gave her the matzah. And she was ecstatic. She's your friend, Lauren. So, yes, today is 11th of Nisan. Yud Aleph is 11. And it's a very, very special day for us today. In fact, last week, I joined a global celebration that took place in Manhattan. And they had Senator Lieberman. You remember him? He was running for vice president a few years ago. And he would have been the first Shomer Shabbos, well, the first Jew, actually. And he's also a Shomer Shabbos Jew. It would have been a huge Kiddush. Hashem, for whatever reason, it wasn't meant to be. Hi, Ava. Good morning, Ava. So Senator Lieberman says like this at this Farbrengen. It was massive. It was at the Park East Synagogue in Manhattan. And he says, today we are celebrating 120-year birthday. He says, but I don't understand. The Rebbe's not alive. Why are we making a birthday for the Rebbe? And then he went on, and I want to share with you what he shared with us. Hi, Esther. Good morning. So he asks a good question. And I wonder if any of you have the same question. Why are we celebrating a birthday of the Rebbe, but he's not alive? He's not 120. The Rebbe's not here. Don't we celebrate birthdays if you're here? Anybody have any reason or explanation they would like to put down in the chat? Because I'm going to share with you something that he shared that was absolutely beautiful. He said like this: when a person passes away, that means their life on this earth is over, and now their neshama lives on in heaven. He says, but the Rebbe never passed away. Why? Because the Rebbe's children are alive. And he went on to talk about the most brilliant accomplishments of the Rebbe, not only with what, let me just give you an example. There have been incredible rabbis and greatest leaders throughout our generations. And many of them focused on the books they wrote. If you go into a Jewish home, and you'll see libraries of books written and published by great tzaddikim. Books on esoterics, on the spiritual, on Kabbalah, on Chumash, on the Medrash, on the Talmud, on explanations of all the greatest books. He says, but the Rebbe didn't just leave books. What did the Rebbe leave? The Rebbe left people, me and you. And so today's Farbrengen, we're going to take a little break from Shaar Habitachon. Today I want to talk about what is your and my responsibility as children of the Rebbe. Because anyone that's watching here has been affected by Chabad. There isn't a Jew walking on the face of the earth today, literally, that has not been affected by Chabad. And even if you don't call yourself Chabad, and even if you don't go to a Chabad school or Chabad shul, or you don't wear the black hat, you have been affected by Chabad. How? You could definitely put down on your chat how you have been affected by Chabad in your life. Was it when you were in university? Was it when you were on summer vacation? Was it with a shiur that you go to? Was it someone you bumped into at the supermarket? Maybe they gave you a matzah or a Shabbos candle. Was it when you were traveling somewhere in Spain or Greece or Italy or Russia and you needed help? You needed a little kiddush. You needed a little Kaddish light. You needed someone to help with a burial in Ireland. Everyone has a story. And that's what we're going to talk about today. What did the Rebbe leave and why are we celebrating his birthday? So are you ready? Do you want to hear my interpretation, Senator Lieberman's interpretation? I'm going to include a little bit of Y.Y. Jacobson, a little bit of the shluchos from Ukraine. I did a lot of Farbrengen the last few days. I was part of a lot of Farbrengens because I miss the Rebbe. I remember celebrating the Rebbe's 70th birthday, the Rebbe's 80th birthday, and the Rebbe's 90th birthday. I wasn't around for the Rebbe's 60th birthday, but each one of these birthdays were great celebrations. The Rebbe would make a Farbrengen, and besides for thousands of Hasidim that were around, there were dignitaries and mayors and politicians and philanthropists who would come and bring the Rebbe gifts. Now, what kind of gift do you give a Rebbe? Let me ask you the question. What kind of gift do you give a Rebbe? You give him baseball tickets? Do you give him a new watch? Do you give him tickets to a trip somewhere? The Rebbe got keys to cities. There were governors and mayors that would bring the Rebbe keys to their city, to California, to Minnesota, keys to Chabad houses, keys to day schools, keys to mikvahs, boxes of keys, celebrations, declarations, all over the world. You heard Melissa Lantzman, how she brought to the Canadian Parliament a whole statement of the Rebbe's contribution to the world, and she got a standing ovation. The Rebbe is beautiful, Linda. Beautiful. I love it. Please copy like what Linda's doing and put down here on the chat how you were touched in some way by the Rebbe, by his shluchim, by his shluchos, by the Chabad houses. Everyone watching has been in contact with the Rebbe. Put it down here. Take a few minutes. I want to make this a Farbrengen where we are all involved, because today is our holiday. Today is our holiday. This is the day our Rebbe was born. Could you close your eyes for a minute? Imagine the world without the Rebbe. Imagine the world without Yud Aleph Nissen and the gift God gave us. The Jewish world has been transformed because of our Rebbe. He cares not only for religious Jews or Chabad Jews or Haredi Jews. The Rebbe never had labels. The Rebbe cares for you, for me, because I am a Jew. Imagine, God forbid, if 120 years ago, on Yud Aleph Nissen, the Rebbe's neshama didn't come into the world. So this is massive. I'm sorry if I'm getting emotional, because I would never be who I am. I would never be sitting here. I would never be living in Toronto, building a Chabad house and starting a new Tamim day school and preschools, and there wouldn't be the hundreds of thousands of institutions that are out today because of the Rebbe, the contribution. So today is a very personal day for you and me. Each one of us in our way has been touched by the Rebbe. So, as I was saying before, many great holy people have contributed with books, with svarim, with incredible holy books that line up the libraries today. But the Rebbe left people, and the Rebbe left me and you. And that itself is a legacy for eternity. And that is why we celebrate today. Like Senator Lieberman said, the Rebbe is not alive, but he is, through me and you. Proud of our Judaism. Joy, I saw, my son sent me, a friend of his was walking in the street, and he was anti-Semitic, verbal grossness. And instead, what did this boy do? People came over to say to him, "You're okay, you're okay." He quickly whipped out his tefillin, and right there on the spot, he put on tefillin with the Jews. Is that not incredible? The empowerment and the pride that Jews have today. Remember, the Rebbe became a Rebbe after Holocaust. There were a lot of broken Jews. There was a lot of brokenness in the world. For those of you, and Gail, I know you're watching here, and my grandparents, there was a lot of broken Holocaust survivors that came. The Rebbe brought back a lot of pride. He made it cool to be a Jew. He made it hip, and he made it very proud that you could walk anywhere in the world, even the most anti-Semitic corners, but a Jew walks with Jewish pride. Remember, after the C-Teen convention that I was invited to speak at, the teenagers, one after another, said, "I am going to pull out my chai. I'm not going to be embarrassed anymore to wear my kippah public school. I'm going to be a proud Jew." And that in itself, in 2022, is so powerful, because the further we are away from Moses and Aaron, the further we are away from the giving of the Torah, we're losing connections, right? But that's not true. Today, Jews are so proud. They walk on an airplane and not worry about being harassed because you're a Jew. Gaon Yaakov, that pride of being a Jew, that I believe came from the Rebbe in 1941 when he came to America and then when he became the Rebbe. And he said, we are not caving in to modernity, that America is too cool to be a Jew. You don't have to be embarrassed to have a beard and a yarmulke. You don't have to be embarrassed to walk the streets with a sheitel. Of course, your sheitel could look good, but the pride of being a Jew, walking in the street with yarmulke and tzitzis. So the Rebbe's teachings was like cold water on a parched soul. We came here always remembering we are proud Jews first. And the world was created to bring the message of the Torah to the world. And the world is waiting. And the more, I heard something so beautiful. Non-Jews respect Jews who respect Judaism. I love that. Say it again. Non-Jews respect Jews who are proud Jews. You could be a Jew and hide it. Tell me if you agree with that. Non-Jews respect Jews who are proud Jews and love their Judaism. Tell me if you think this is okay. Tell me if you think this makes sense, if this is relevant to you. Because I believe that this is today one of the most important things with all this pro-BDS and all this anti-Israel. We are fighting with joy. We are fighting with being proud Jews. And this was the legacy of the Rebbe. And the Rebbe left us, me and you, to be his hands and his feet. And I'm going to share with you 3 stories. It's interesting, actually. If you think of it, the whole world today is focused on which country. Put it down in the comments. Which country is the focus today of the world? Every CNN and BBS and I don't even know the news stations, but everybody, everyone around the world, every newspaper, every radio, everyone's talking about one country. Which is the country? Ukraine. Think about it. In 1698, there was a great tzaddik that was born in Ukraine. Anybody remember who that was? That was the Baal Shem Tov. And then in 1902, in Nikolaev, was the Rebbe. 2 great luminaries that were born in Ukraine. And today we are celebrating the Rebbe's birthday, who was born in Ukraine. Ukraine became a symbol of hope and light and defiance and perseverance. And this is exactly what the Rebbe teaches us. We have to realize that we are living today in a world where it's going to be challenging us. But the Rebbe left us a legacy, and he said, be a proud Jew. And look, you and I know, my kids, right? Where's Schoenberg? I haven't seen him a whole year. He was in California. He's a shliach. Comes Pesach, I'm waiting for him to come home, calls us up and he goes, Ma, with your permission and you and Tati's permission, I'm going to St. Lucia to run seders there for people who don't have anywhere to go. Now, this is a 21-year-old boy, studies a whole year. Believe me, he'd be happy to come home and relax and have some potato kugel and some delicious, Pesach food. Why does Levi do that? Why do Mendy do that? Why does Schoenberg do that? What is it with him? Because they were raised by the teachings of the Rebbe that we are here to service our master and to be of service to our fellow Jews. And if another Jew in St. Lucia doesn't have a Seder, that's my problem. And I'm proud of Schoenberg. And I'm proud of all the hundreds and hundreds of young men who are not going home for Pesach, but they're spending it in far-fetched places like Kenya, like St. Lucia, like Uganda, helping shluchim that are there run seders. So I want to share with you 3 incredible role models because the world is talking today about Ukraine. These 3 stories are from Ukraine. The first story happened with the shluchim from Sumy, Ukraine. And the shliach tells the story that he was just arriving in Ukraine, and this is many years ago, and he was told, you better become a Ukrainian citizen because then you're settled and it's much easier for you, for taxes, for health, whatever it is, become a citizen. So he applies to go in to the office. Now, him and his wife are from California. He shows up at the Ministry of Immigration and of Citizenship, and he presents his papers. And the guy looks at him and goes, there is no way we are allowing you to become a citizen. And he goes, why not? And he says 2 reasons. Number one, because you're probably a spy. Who from California settles in Sumi? And number 2, you're a Meshuggah, because who from California comes to Sumi? So the shliach, no matter what he said, they didn't listen to him. So he left, and about a year later, hi, good morning, Marlene, good morning, Nikki. A year later, his wife has a baby, and he comes back, and he says, listen, buddies, I'm having kids here. I'm not a spy. And the immigration lawyer says to him, maybe you're not a spy, but you're definitely a Meshuggah. And the shliach repeats the story, and he says, I got my permanent residence, and I am proud to say, yeah, maybe I am a Meshuggah. Maybe being a shliach of the Rebbe means that you do things that are beyond understanding, that are a level of Mesiras Nefesh. Yeah, why would you settle from leave LA or leave Beverly Hills and come to Sumi? I mean, if ever of you have been in Sumi, Ukraine, I can guarantee you it is not LA. It is not Beverly Hills, okay? So this commitment, that comes from being the Rebbe's child. That's story number 1. Good morning, Denise. What's story number 2? Story number 2 I heard 2 nights ago. I was watching a massive Farbrengen in front of 770. 15,000 Jews settled in front of 770. They took off the whole Eastern Parkway, and they had speakers, and they had videos, and they had messages. And this Rabbi Moskowitz from Kharkov, Ukraine, he was there. It was very emotional because he spoke about how he had to run with his community and his family, and he wants to come back. And he says, as he was leaving Kharkov, they went on like a 50-hour journey because, you know, to get through, there was bumper to bumper, and you had to wait like 8 hours at the border. And it was very, very treacherous running from bombs. You know, Kharkov was very, very hit very badly by the Russians. So he says, as they're traveling, what does a Jew do? Anybody know? What do we do when we go on a trip? Put it down in the comments. What does a Jew do when they go on the trip? We say, Tfilat HaDerech. So he says Tfilat HaDerech, and his wife adds on a line. So Tfilat HaDerech is a bracha that we say that you should have a safe trip, a safe journey, and no harm should come on your way. And there's a little clause there. If you're planning to return right away, you say, V'zachazirenu l'shalom. I should return in peace. He says, his wife says out loud, V'zachazirenu l'shalom. Now remember, there are bombs falling. Houses were destroyed. Buildings, homes. There's no food. People are jumping into shelters. They're living on bread and water, very meager. And all this wife, all this shulcha wants is v'sachazirenu l'shalom. V'sachazirenu l'shalom. Where does that come from? Where does that energy, that love, that passion for Judaism come from? It comes from the Rebbe. It comes from our Rebbe. If you think that any one of us shluchim or shluchos are exemplary people because who we are, what we do, everything we are today is because of the Rebbe. Everything. Because we were raised with the philosophy that a Jew is a Jew and you have to love and care and be selfless. Now, it's funny because till now, Lubavitch's job was always to educate, right? Bring people closer to Yiddishkeit. Go out and get them to light Shabbos candles. In fact, there's a beautiful campaign. If you go on Chabad Markham, there's a campaign we're trying to raise 18,000 mitzvahs as a gift to the Rebbe. So please, when you finish this, I'll put our link on that. It's called One Mitzvah / Chabad Markham. And you'll go on to Team Chabad Markham and you could put down your mitzvah as a gift. Because today, what does the Rebbe need for a gift? He doesn't need anything physical. He only wants spiritual gifts. So, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so I was saying, so all these shluchos and shluchim, where does this come from? It comes from being raised by the Rebbe. And then I'm going to share with you the third story. This is from a shliach from Odessa. His name was Rabbi Wolf. Rabbi Wolf took his orphanage. Now, in Ukraine, as you must have heard by now, they have a lot of orphanages there. And when I spoke to one of the shluchas, she tells me that these are not necessarily children that don't have parents. Their parents gave them up because they were born young. The parents were too young. They couldn't handle them. There was poverty. They couldn't give them food and shelter. So they gave them over to Chabad to raise. And here is Chabad with 120 orphanages in Odessa. 120 orphans. And the day they left, someone dropped off a 6-day-old child, a young couple. So he's taking his own children, his own 9 kids, and 120 orphans plus this brand new baby. And they're running, and they're running. And he arranged buses to take care of these children. And of course, they had to take with food because these children are, again, it could be a 30-hour, 40-hour, 50-hour journey. And they made it to Berlin. This group of Jews with Rabbi Wolf made it to Berlin. They get to Berlin. And what do you know? The Rebbe sent a shliach to Berlin. So there's Rabbi Tachtel, who's taking care of the people in Berlin. And there's the shliach from Odessa with his orphans. So what I was starting to say before was, we were really there sent on shlichus to bring spirituality. But what happened now is the role of a shliach became to take care of the physical needs of the Jews. It's not only the spiritual needs, because another Jew's physical needs is my spiritual concern. So if another Jew has a tornado or a hurricane or a fire or a flood, I mean, think about all the things that have happened in the last 20, 30, 40 years where the shluchim were there bringing food to hurricanes, disasters. I mean, since when did Chabad shluchim become Red Cross volunteers? But that's the role, because whatever the Jew needs, that's what you have to do. Humanity. And Chabad doesn't only help Jews. Chabad helps all of humanity. So this rabbi arrives in Berlin, and Rabbi Tachtel has a hotel set up, and everyone is there. There's food for the orphans. There's places for the children to stay. And lo and behold, in walks the president of Germany. I think his name is Frank Walter. I'm not sure. And he joins the two shluchim, the shliach from Odessa, the shliach from Berlin. And here's Germany, the country that decimated a third of our people. And what does this president do? As the two rabbis are singing with all the children, Oh, se shalom, bimroma, uya se shalom aleinu. Stands this president, puts his arms around the two shluchim. That sight is in itself Mashiach cited. Who would have ever imagined that a president of a country like Germany would welcome in refugees and shluchim and their community to Berlin? This is the most incredible legacy that our Rebbe left, and that is why we are celebrating Yud Aleph Nisan, because the Rebbe left for us huge shoes to fill, but he's confident that you and I will do it. So as I'm going to be sharing a few more things, I would love everyone to put down here on the chat a mitzvah that you are going to do in honor of Yud Aleph Nisan. Ready, set, go. Okay, and while everyone's doing that, I want to talk a little bit about what inspired the Rebbe to become this world leader, this Moshe Rabbeinu of our generation. So we're told when Moshe was still a prince in Egypt, he took a walk one day and he noticed an Egyptian kill a Jew. Hi, Becky. Not too late. Your kids had a Zoom for bringing. Beautiful. A good yontif, as we say. And Moses sees a Egyptian kill a Jew. The Jews were slaves, and he killed them left, right, and center. So we're told that Moshe looked. Thank you, Sancha. So Paro looked. I'm sorry. Okay, start again. Moshe sees an Egyptian kill a Jew. So we're told in the pasuk, the Moshe looks to the right, he looks to the left, and Ein Ish, there is no man. So what does he do? He kills the Mitzri. He says, you kill the Jew, you deserve the death penalty. He kills him and he buries him in the earth. But really, nobody saw? You and I both knew. The next day, he had to run for his life. Remember, he ran off and met Yisro's daughters. He ran to Midian. But no one saw. How did they find out? Of course there were people. People saw, and people tattled on him. So what does it mean that no one saw? This is what it means, my friend. This is the mitzvah, the legacy that we have of the Rebbe. The legacy is this. We know that Hashem gave us each our power, our energy, and our strength. And sometimes we look around and we say, ain't ish. No one's there. No one's doing this. No one's doing that. We have to step up and do it. If you see someone's living in poverty and you know about it, no one else does, you help them. You bring them food before Pesach. You hear that someone's struggling with an illness and you can help them with writing a letter to the Rebbe, you can help them with checking the mezuzahs, you do it. That's the legacy the Rebbe left us. Ein ish, become the ish. I want to conclude with a beautiful story that happened the Sunday before the Rebbe's stroke. It was 1992. The Rebbe was giving dollars. It was on a Sunday. And there was a little girl. There's a video clip of it that was going around. There was a little girl, and her father was carrying her. The father gave her a dollar, and her father $1. And as she's holding the dollar, she says, Lubavitcher Rebbe, I love you. And then the Rebbe takes $1 and he gives it to her with a big smile. And he says, this is for the love. I want to wish you all, hold on to the coattails of the Rebbe. Become a lamplighter like our Rebbe wants us to be. Do mitzvahs today and sign up and do it because today is Yud Aleph Nisan. And I want to remind all of you, today is a day of tremendous opportunity. Because on the day of someone's birthday, you can ask for anything and they give you brachas. So when you finish this class, hi Marilyn, when you finish this class, go online, go ohelchabad.com and write a letter to the Rebbe. Promise the Rebbe a mitzvah you're going to start doing, how you're going to grow in your Yiddishkeit, how you're going to help others. Ask the Rebbe for brachas so that he can daven on your behalf to God, because now the Rebbe's in a Shama and he has very, very strong access to God. Say, the Rebbe, this is what I need for my family. Please daven for me. Daven for me because you're a tzaddik and you have greater access. Give tzedakah today. And may we merit very soon that we will be reunited with the Rebbe, reunited with all our loved ones, and let's hear the announcement that Mashiach is here. Have a wonderful, wonderful Pesach.